Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris Gentry with My Service Area, back with another video talking about trash can cleaning in the trash can cleaning world and a little bit of MSA. Tonight, I have with me Alan Crosby. Alan, how are you?
Hey, pretty good, Chris. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Now, give the viewers a quick introduction, if you will.
Yeah, as Chris said, I'm Alan Crosby. I am part owner of American Bin Washers out here in Southern California. We cover the South LA County, North Orange County, and Riverside County areas out here. And we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary last week in business.
Congrats.
Thank you. We're very excited about it. We're just two guys, my partner Steve, we're two guys that came from the corporate world, just wanting to get out of that 9 to 5 hustle and bustle, making the man rich concept, and just wanted to do something on our own. And this is definitely something that we've been enjoying and enjoying building our business here.
Fantastic. All right. So everybody asks, when we do these videos, it seems like, how did you find the can cleaning business? What research did you do before you purchased you've got a trailer, correct?
Yeah, we have a trailer. Yep.
And it's a sparkling bins, correct?
That is correct.
Yep. Fantastic.
SB2 trailer.
Great. And so, what was the process that you guys went through in doing the research, picking this industry, and then picking a manufacturer to go with?
Yeah, so Steve and I were looking to get into business together. We're lifelong friends. We've known each other literally almost our entire lives. And we had a couple other things that we're looking at that didn't work out, that we decided not to do. And then one day, I mean, this is kind of a typical thing now. What I'm hearing with a lot of these guys coming into our industry is the TikTok. I seen this concept on TikTok, and I really thought it was just a one person that built his own truck and just had a phenomenal idea. And it's something I'm like, how did that guy actually build that? How did he do that? This is a great concept. I wash my trash cans by myself, on my own with the hose water, bleach, and soap, and a big broom, things
Right.
like that. So when I was looking at that, I'm like, I got to look into this. So I started kind of Googling things, and I've noticed that it's an actual industry. And so Sparkling Bins is the one we bought it from, and we that came up first. I started talking to them a little bit. Then I actually talked to the other providers as well, the other manufacturers, and kind of get an idea of what they had and what they're doing. And I had 3 really good conversations with 3 of the representatives of each company. And Sparkling Bins, it was just fantastic. What John Conway is doing over there is really good, and we were very comfortable with them. They're out there in Miami, Florida, so a little bit further, completely opposite end of the nation for me. So a little bit more of a transportation obstacles to be able to get the trailer out to us, but it worked pretty good. So through that process, my partner and Steve we were just kind of looking to see what the best options were for us, and we just wanted to get into the business and without putting too much money out there. So we chose to go with the trailer instead of an actual truck. And it's worked out pretty good. We have the SB2. It's doing its job, and it's working for us, and it's good stuff. So
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, John, I know I always hear when I talk to Sparkling Bins owners that John provides excellent customer service, and they have a top quality product there.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So now let's fast forward. You've put the deposit down for the trailer. Now, what are you guys doing on the other side of the business? Are you throwing up a website? Are you doing any marketing efforts? What did that look like in the process?
Yeah, we started everything pretty much February of 2021 as just the thought process, researching, understanding. I think we put our deposit down, I believe it was April or something like that. And once we did that, we quickly got a website together. We started kind of understanding the market in our area, kind of where we would want to go. We live in 2 different counties, my partner and I. I live in Orange County. He lives in Riverside County. So our idea was to try to do 10-mile radius on each side, or each around our homes in those two areas. So we kind of mapped that out, trying to figure out what we needed to do on that as we were waiting. We got the LLC going. We have all the legal stuff going, all the business license, all that fun stuff. And then just kind of strategize from then on how to come into the market with this and understanding our competitors, because we do have competitors out here.
Right. And so at this time, did you have the website live or a landing page that was up, and were you collecting any potential, prospects data?
I would say we started, I want to say it was July or August when we started to really focus on the website. We worked on the Facebook community pages, kind of getting an idea of what the market would be, pricing wise, the idea of having it. And so we did some polls and stuff like that with the marketing groups or the Facebook community groups, kind of just understand what's out there, what we could do. And then also just learning from John over there at Sparkling Bins and his the head start that he gives you kind of helped out too. And his team over there, our salesperson was Victoria, his daughter, and she was great throughout the whole process, kind of get us going.
Yeah, good to hear. So, all right, let's continue down this hitting the fast forward. Now the trailer gets to you guys. Now, what marketing channels were you using in the very beginning?
Yeah, so
were you using any?
Yeah, we did. So we started with the Facebook groups just because they're free type thing.
Yeah.
And then we kind of started playing around with the social media ads, Facebook ads, the Instagram ads. I quickly understood that I wasn't very good at that at first. So we actually hired somebody to do that for us for a little while. And then I kind of quickly caught on, and I decided to do it on my own. And we've done it ever since. I've done it on my own, the marketing aspect of it. But social media is definitely the number one for us. The kind of the negative about that is it's a wide audience.
Right.
It's not just by the actual like neighborhood and stuff like that. So we've learned that initially we had too much of a service area and we were driving quite a bit. Now, a year later, that's been, a lot of that is kind of filled up a little bit. So we're not driving as much as we were, but we've tried other things like direct mailers. We've done a magazine, just like a city magazine type thing.
How did those play out? I mean, I know direct mail that you have to, and I guess this could be applied to, Facebook or Google ads too. You have to be consistent, but I know direct mail is awfully expensive. Yeah. But how did those two channels work out for you? The magazine and the direct mail.
Yeah, so the direct mail, we quickly realized how expensive that is and how often you have to do it to the same people to be able to get something. So we had to kind of seize that. We had to stop it after we did one mailing to a specified group of neighborhoods that we're trying to get more dense in.
Right.
Not a single person contacted us. We didn't do that much. It was just a kind of a test. I think we did 1,200 homes, and not a single one came up and did anything. So it cost a lot. So we decided to not do that right now until we get a little bit bigger and we can be able to withstand the cost of doing it multiple times.
Right.
And then the magazine, we had a little, I think it was like a 3x4 ad, I think it was, on a page. It was color was nice, it was presented well, but it was one of the very first things we did. So my ad wasn't probably the best of it, but I think we got 2 or 3 clients out of that. Wasn't a lot, unfortunately. Gotcha. But it wasn't too expensive. But we've also done city festivals. We do special events and things like that. Those work out pretty good. For the cost of in a time, we do pretty well with those, signing up people.
Because you do with those types of events, you can do sign up on spot. So
yes, and that's what we try to do. And so we did one before we got the trailer, and that was a lot harder to do because we didn't, like, nobody knows what this is.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, we're trying to explain to them how this works. They're like, yeah, okay. And so we did actually 2 of those without the trailer. And then this year we did the same 2 with the trailer. And then they were,
Probably night and day difference.
yeah, it was a big difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely helps when they get to see what it is. We
Yeah.
didn't have it in action because there's a safety noise and all that kind of
All
stuff.
right.
So we just had there showing the lift and things like that. So it worked out pretty well for us, which is good.
I mean, in the summertime, I still get people that come up to me on once a week and go, I never knew this was a business.
We get that almost every day we're out. Honestly, we talk to at least 2 to 3 people a day, I would imagine. Yeah, 2 to 3 people a day about this. People come out, it's like, what is all that noise going on? And we have a turbo nozzle too, so it really makes a lot of noise.
Yeah. Yep.
Not only just the engine, but the nozzle itself.
Right.
So they come out, we watch. We got people with phones, recording us. I was joking with my partner Steve the other day that we should start charging an entertainment fee of $5 for every time they want to do a video. But it was, yeah. So, but we get people signing up from the streets as well,
Yeah.
from the neighborhoods, which is nice. Sometimes we're able to do it right then and there. Sometimes depending on our route and how busy we are, what part of the day we're in,
Yeah.
we might not be able to do it right away, but we'll get them to them as soon as possible. But yeah, I mean, it's a great way to do it.
So tell me about everybody's, service offerings are a little bit different, but the core, the one-time, monthly, and quarterly. How are you guys set up for business?
Yeah, so we do monthly, we do quarterly, and one-time service right
Okay.
now. All done. No annual services. Annual like prepay. We haven't done anything like that yet. We're kind of looking at that to see if we wanted to do that, because I know back on the East Coast over there, it seems like you guys do that quite a bit.
So here, it's funny that you mentioned that. So I'm getting ready to go up on my pricing again, and I am doing away with prepaid. I currently I offer 6-month prepaid.
Okay.
And the problem that I've had this year, it seems like April will be 3 years for me. But for whatever reason, with this year, there has been times where service has been skipped. Hey, I'm gonna be out of town. It seems like there have been a lot of those this year,
Yeah.
and so now I have to track that information, and it's become a nightmare. It's just one more thing that I do not need on my plate right now. Yeah, it is, and as you well know, efficiency is the name of the game in this business. How efficient can you be? And so, in my communication, my communications are going out this week about all the new changes, because obviously this is an update to my terms of services too. But I'm doing away with the prepaid. It's all going to be, monthly, quarterly, or one time. If you do one time, you do prepaid for me, because I've been burned too many times on doing a one time and then trying to chase 50, 75, $100.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to learn when you're in this business, and it's good that us as owners of these businesses, we talk a lot, and there's good conversation going back and forth. You learn a lot about it. So we're probably staying away from the annual discount or the annual pricing because we have a lot of people that skip because they're out of town, or we come out there and they don't have the bins out, or they're full because there's a couple cities that are not very good at getting them emptied for them.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work to be able to keep track of all that and be able to credit a certain month or a certain visit. And so other than that, I mean, when you prepay, so since we don't do that, we just cancel that particular visit and move on, and we're done. So yeah.
So a little while ago, you referenced your territories and your route density, and so you are, I guess you're probably almost 60 days in or so using my service area. So
Yep.
what can you tell the audience or explain to us what life was like before my service area, why you even looked at my service area, and then making the decision to implement my service area with your business, and kind of what it looks like now?
Yeah, absolutely. So since we do that type of marketing with social media, we reach to other areas that we don't really want to service. We try our best to kind of keep it in our service area, but social media, they're all over. So we were getting a lot of people who are trying to sign up that were not anywhere close to our service area, or they were just outside of it, and we just deemed it as too hard to get there, or like we have some parts of Orange County right next to the ocean. It's really tight area for a truck and trailer to get to because of all the cars and stuff like that. So we were actually driving to these places, and we on a couple occasions we were not able to actually service the customer because we couldn't get them to them.
Yep.
Right. And so we were finding out we had to kind of look at the Google Maps every time somebody would call us or they sign up or something, to kind of see if we could even get to them in those areas when we knew it was in those areas, in those tight areas next to the beaches. Now with my service area, I don't have that as my service area. And so they don't get to sign up on that because it blocks them, which is good. So no matter how much I would love to be able to service that area, I just can't do it with the truck and trailer. It's just too long. Yeah. And it's just too old of neighborhoods. They're really small. They don't really have large streets, wide streets, and they have a lot of cars and stuff like that. So
it sounds like my life servicing downtown Charleston.
Yeah, it's tight over there as well.
Yeah, I get cussed out every time I go down there.
Yeah, we don't like that either. So but before we seen your service with my service area and met you, we're actually looking for a mapping company just so we could actually pin our customers to be able to see them, because without doing that, do you really know your customer base, and do you know where they're at? Just by you're driving around, you're doing that, but to see it on a map and see how you could grow from that, or either growing by growing your territory or growing by shrinking your territory, so you're able to handle more customers in one day and be able to save money on gas and time and things like that.
And what system do you currently use now for your scheduling? And
we are using ServiceWorks.
ServiceWorks.
Yeah. We just switched to them from Jobber. We're 2 months into that adventure as well, and right now it's a lot better as far as routing wise, so it's helping us quite a bit, and there's other benefits to that, but we wanted to see, I'm a very visual person. I have to be able to see where my customers are at, and so I kid you not, it was probably the day before we seen your advertisement or your thing in the forums, we were actually looking at online Googling pinning maps. How do we do that? And we just didn't see anything that would work, especially financially wise, because some of them are really expensive. It's not worth $100 a month to do that. To me, it's not worth that. Right. And then we literally seen your post the next day, and we called you up, and
you guys acted quickly, that's for sure.
Immediately, because
very grateful for.
We were literally looking for this exact thing. And not only do we get what we want with be able to visualize with pins, but the main thing of MSA is to be able to put that on your website and have people enter their addresses in and get pre-qualified per se, or find out if they're in our zone. So not only do we get what we wanted on that end, be able to visualize our customers and where they're at, but we get to actually do what MSA was built for, and kind of prevent people from going into our area or into our service area.
Has that been a big time savings for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because so if you get somebody that is signing up, now we charge after the fact. We don't charge ahead of time. So we're not having to do the refunding and things like that if somebody signs up and they're not in an area. So that's one good thing about what we do. A lot of people pre-charge. We don't. So what it did save, though, is I don't have to communicate with those those potential customers and say, hey, I appreciate you trying to sign up with our service. However, we don't actually service your area, right? And I always try to do that. I didn't like to ignore them and not actually, it's branding, right? So just because they're not in our area, they could still say something negative about my brand or something because we didn't have good communication or anything like that. We're a 5-star rated company on Google, and main reason is our communication, right? We communicate with everybody that we talk to. So yeah, it saved a lot of time to having to call, email, text, whatever it may be. Nobody really answers our phones anymore. So, we try to attempt to call. It didn't happen. Now we got to email them or text them. It's just more time. And man, my camera's going crazy.
Yeah, I know.
it's the shine on my head. I had to put a whole
Let me
joke
get
on
some sunglasses.
it. But no, it does save a lot of time, or it has saved us a lot of time, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now we don't really have any issue with anybody trying to sign up.
Right.
That is not in our service area, which is good. But with MSA though, I'm able to see where they're at though.
Yeah.
Right. So it pins on the map where they're entering their address in. So it gives me that data so I can market to them later on if I wanted to expand into their city or town or street, whatever it may be, which is really good. So, and it allows me to really see where our reach is at, our marketing reach, our word of mouth reach, our Google reach, all that kind of stuff. So
I had a inquiry today into MSA, and we were talking, and he asked about the backstory, and I told him about the backstory, and I said, when I first had this problem trying to find a solution to it, people told me, well, why don't you use a zip code filter? And I said, well, zip codes are like people. They come in all different shapes and sizes, and you don't service all people. So why would you service all, zip codes in your area? There may be only a couple square miles that you service within one zip code because the rest of it's rural area or something. It's just not feasible from a business that you have to be mindful of how far you travel, and especially with fuel prices.
Right. Especially out here in California, where we're spending $7 a gallon on diesel right now.
Yeah.
Or close to it. We were at 7. I think it's a little less now, but it keeps going up and down. So yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, the amount of money we're saving because of that, just by looking at the MSA and keeping people, because I get happy when I get a customer. I don't really look at where they're at.
Right.
My partner doesn't like that when I do that. So he gets upset at me because I just put ourselves probably 20 minutes out from our last customer, and I said, I'm the sales part of the business, and so I'm just trying to get the sales. I'm trying to get the customers, and so I don't make those mistakes anymore because it's through MSA. Somebody calls us over the phone, I'm entering their information into MSA just to make sure that they're in our service. Because we don't do the zip codes for the most part, because we have parts of a zip code that is way out in the area that we don't want to be. I wouldn't call anything around here as rural, but it's definitely way too far for us to go to a certain area, especially like in a Riverside area. It's a very large county. And so I've made a few mistakes of going way too far. And so we currently have those customers still, but we're going to be saying goodbye to them soon, just so we could reduce the amount of driving that we're doing.
Yeah. I know this is hard to hear, for a lot of people, but I mean, sometimes you have to say no. And when you have to say no early on, that's the hardest part, because you see dollar signs and you're like, I just need to generate $1. I need to generate $1. I'll say yes to everybody. But then, you look back and you go, I shouldn't have said yes to that person. So having the ability, and I guess the tools and the information in front of you to be able to say no is a very valuable thing, because it can cost you more to say yes.
It definitely has, and we've learned that lesson. So that's another benefit of the of MSA is to avoid that. Now I don't have to think too much about it. I don't have to look at Google. I just kind of put it in, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't,
if they're in, they're in. If they're out, they're out.
Right. Yeah. And, I refer them to other companies if I have to, my competitors and stuff, because I have competitors referring people to us because we don't cover the same area. So we kind of do a back and forth, which is really good.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah. And if they were on MSA as well, that would be handled automatically.
Maybe someday.
Maybe you're right. But enough talk about that. So, and we're excited and glad to have you on board. But for somebody that's looking at this business, I kind of wrap up and be mindful of your time. But somebody looking at this business, what would you say to them? What would be your recommendation as to, doing your homework, talking to manufacturers, from the marketing side? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, definitely do due diligence. Make sure you really have a good business plan written out. really get on to really ask questions, either through the manufacturers or other people that are in the business, to really understand what it really is. It's not a get rich type thing. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, and to get started, you need to have capital, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you could finance a truck or a trailer. That's all good. It's not a cheap $200 payment for that stuff, right? It's very expensive to have that. But also the capital for the advertising, capital just to, if you choose to do this as a full-time gig, you got to be able to live, and understand that. But do your due diligence, really understand what it takes to do this. It looks like an easy company to run. Compared to others, maybe it is, but it's a lot of work. If you're an owner operator, as I am, you go out there and you're busting your butt out there every single day. You're doing your route and you're trying to get business, and you're getting phone calls throughout the day with potential customers or existing customers. It just takes a lot. So you got to be 100% into it and committed to do it. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
This is not a part-time gig. You can make it part-time for a little while, but once you start getting busier, it's going to be a full-time gig. So you got to be prepared to transition yourself into that full-time role if you start as a part-time. But definitely talk to those manufacturers. I think they're all solid manufacturers. I think they make great vehicles. And it's your preference of who you want to go with. A lot of people do it by where they're at. Like there's one in Texas, probably closer to me, but I chose to go completely opposite, end of the United States to be able to get mine, just because I had a better rapport with them.
Yeah, and that, I mean, obviously that says a lot about John and Sparkling Bins for you to choose the Miami versus Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. So other than that, good luck out there as far as getting there, get into it. I think a lot of people are getting into this business right now. There's a lot of exposure, which is great. I tell the people all the time, it's like, I welcome competition just because they're going to help educate the public about this.
Right.
And I don't have to spend all my money educating the public. It's here in California, there's millions of homes right here. I can't do millions of homes. I will never do millions of homes. Right. So it's okay to have 4, 5, 6 competitors, because I just seen our competitor. I've seen 2 times our competitor in 1 year of doing this.
Right.
The second time was just last week.
Wow.
Right. And it took over 9 months to actually see one.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, I think it's a good business. I think it's something that the public needs. Some of them just don't know they need it yet until they see you out there and see their neighbors getting their bins clean, and they see the results and they see what the difference is. And then I think you could be very successful in this business as long as you put the effort in.
So to kind of recap on the capital, hard work, and patience.
Yeah. And it's not a 8-hour day job. Yeah. It's not a 5 days a week. I literally have my business hours of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. purposely, because I know people get home late after work. Out here, there's hour to 2 hour commutes home. I want them to be able to call me at 8 o'clock at night to see what our business is like, because they don't have any other time to do it.
Yep.
So my phones are always on 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Answering questions, and I get people that late. And sometimes I'm text messaging people either from either a straight text message or messaging them on social media 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, because they're inquiring. They see my ad, they inquired, and all of a sudden they see a response quickly, and they're like, wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, right.
Customer
service.
Here, that's what I do. That's what I do. We have to, for me, I have to be able to do that for my potential customers and my current customers.
Yeah.
We're answering phone calls 6 o'clock in the morning, answering text messages at 6 o'clock in the morning. We're 100% in, 120 million % in, to be honest.
Well, good. Well, Alan, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk with me tonight. I'm sure a lot of people will find value in what you have shared about your experience, and we're happy to have you on board. And thanks again for everything.
Yeah, hey Chris, you and your partner James there, you guys are doing an excellent job. I think MSA is a game chart and changer in a lot of ways. And I definitely think a lot of people could take advantage of it and be able to see what I see in the software. You guys are doing great. And not only that, but you guys are always able to listen to suggestions and to kind of think that out and kind of talk it over. And we've had many conversations, you and I, and James, we've had a couple conversations about certain things, and I'm excited to see what MSA is going to be doing in the next couple of years or a couple months, for that matter. You guys are changing things.
Well, hopefully, after your and James' conversation, what you guys talked about, I think that's next on our. I think that got moved up the to-do list. He's finishing up one thing, but I think what you guys talked about is probably our next big piece.
So stay tuned for that.
Right.
What that's going to be all about.
That's a teaser.
No, you guys are doing a great job. I think alone the way it sits today is an asset to any company, to be able to use the software for all the benefits it has and the features it has. And then you guys are obviously going to make it even better as it goes. So congratulations on such a great idea and implementing it and getting it out there. I know it's been going on for a couple of years, kind of on the sidelines here, but you're just now getting it out there a little bit more. So anything I could do to help, I'm here for you, man.
You did enough, and we appreciate it. Thanks, Alan. You have a great Thanksgiving holiday, and thank you.
All right. You as well. Thank you.
Right,
appreciate
it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.